I can. Actually, I cannot hear you through the Twitch stream. I can hear myself though, so I'll handle this for. All right, so we got some early route divergence as Renderer is going the lumberjack route, and we got Lumaga going and checking Uncle really quick, and finding himself 20. Tree pole is 20 bucks times 4. What do we got up on lumberjack ledge? Just a single. Looks like we had a piece of heart out of the other uncle's spot, so got a mat check, green pendant on Tower of Hera, and crystals at the other two. As Professor Renderer works his way into the forest, we got another 20. And another 50 bucks for Renderer.
Okay, test test. Can you hear me? Twitch chat, can you hear me?
Looks like I got a blind side. I saw gloves. Sorry, we're working on comm issues on the side. I'm gonna try to not miss. All right, Renderer working his way over to the cave here as Lumaga works their way into Kek. Got 50 bucks out of the first chest, 3 bombs off the bottle. Then just a piece of heart. Another piece of heart, blue mail, and ice rod. Okay. Don't have to worry about that trolling us.
Sounds like we're getting a lot of items. Anyone hear me on the Twitch end? The problem with this troubleshooting is I can't really switch on certain audios because otherwise audio will double up.
And moon pearl out of the bar. Okay, so we're hammer away from Dark World access. That blue mail's gonna be nice while they're low on. Render picking up 10 bombs. Always a good decision while you're on. Just got a heart container up on the library ledge, so we're probably not coming. Renderer working his way through the race game is Lumaga picking up their pearl and just got a big red up on the Renderer gonna grab that and then save and quit on it. Lumaga looking like they're gonna do some bomb.
There's a quick test at the 6-12 minute point. Okay, Kirkle, I think we finally got to the point where Twitch can hear us both. Can you hear me well?
I was just waiting to hear it through Discord, or Twitch.
Just some weird technical difficulties of fixing around restreams and trying to make them work. It's been an interesting 7 minutes. So, recap me real quick on what we missed.
Alright, so in Kakariko, we've got Ice Rod, Gloves, and Pearl, as well as Blue Mail, which is going to be good while they're both at 4.
I see we got ProfessorRenderer starting to head towards South Shore, Lumaga going for the back of escape. Have either of them touched front of escape yet?
They have not. One of them went over and checked on.
So we're still looking for any sort of actual serious weapon here to start getting into like Eastern or anywhere where we really need to be doing some good damage.
That is correct. Now, luckily, Renderer has... Actually, they both have full magic, so that Ice Rod can be used. It's just we all know how much of a pain in the neck Ice Rod and
Yeah, it's always fun. So hopefully we'll find some sort of either like sword, bow, or at the very least we'll just be going crazy with bombs for a while in like mini Moldorm Cave. Maybe we'll find something, some sort of Dark World access there.
if we're really lucky, we'll get a hook shot, and then Mini Moldorm Cave and the crabs become so much, as well as a little bit of utility movement.
Alright, and now that we are back in full double co-commentator mode, I just want to make a quick note here that this is game 2. I believe it is Lumaga that is up game 1. ProfessorRenderer has decided to flip the switch and have this be a 6-6 access to GAN and access to GT game.
Alright, Renderer diving into Agina's cave right now. We'll find out what he's holding first. Lumaga checking the dam and then going
always
to
one of those
south
kind of like always like one of those kind of like risk plays going to Agina first before you head over to Moldorm, just because it's one check versus all the everything that's over in mini Moldorm. But hey, sometimes if it's the one big item that Agina's holding onto for the seed, it could always pay off.
That is correct. Lumaga working on mini Moldorm cave.
Kind of bullying him around a little bit. Not really giving him much room to move.
They will do that. They're just like their big brother. But those just dive in with the bomb on your head strats working well for Lumaga. And let's see what we got. We've got flippers. That's a good find. We got a big red, a little bit of love, some more bombs, and bottle. All right, so some value in mini Moldorm Cave.
Some of it interesting, some of it a little bit worrying. Worry about those slippers just a little bit, because that could end up meaning like maybe potentially with having to fight an Aga, having some really strange Dark World access, having to use flippers to get around somewhere.
Lumaga seeing a little bit of love on Lake Hilly Island as they work their way up to let's see what Hobo's holding on for us tonight. Just some blueberries.
Oh boy, stopped him from bombing that bridge.
Sometimes if you go there when you're in Dark World and you forget that you don't have hammer, you want to bomb that bridge.
If only you could.
Alright, so Renderer following suit going into Mini Moldorm Cave. I'm curious where Lumaga's going to go from here. You think they're just going to go up to Zora and just do the check?
He may check the fairy fountain after checking Ice Rod Cave here, but since he doesn't have the money for Zora, he may just peek Zora's ledge and then quit out. Professor Renderer following up shortly behind him, grabbing his copy of the flippers in that bottle.
And Lumaga doing the dance around the crabs right now. This is always terrifying when you have a heart and a half, even with...
Yeah, even with Blue Mail, those crabs still do a whole heart of damage. They
But
are
gets
no
around
joke.
them fine and gets the Titan's mitts for their trouble.
Well, we have our Dark World access. Maybe not be out of the neck of the woods with Agate just yet, but we can at least go there.
So, with Dark World access, if you're in Lumaga's spot, where are you going now?
It's very tough to say because a good portion opens up just with the Titan's myths, on top of the fact that you can sequence break the mountain at least a little bit. I would probably head towards, the Thieves' Town sort of area and then work my way down if I was going to continue Overworld, get in that Hype Cave, check if I can, probably see if I can't find wherever that hammer actually may be, maybe a hook shot, something just to give you a little bit more edge, hearts otherwise.
Those are always good decisions. I might do a little small sequence break up to Mountain Cave just to get that save and quit spot, but that's completely reasonable to say. And
Yeah,
nothing
the world
out of
is
waterfall
his
out there.
oyster right now. Also, he's going to definitely want to begin that map check in as soon as possible and start planning which dungeons he wants to do and which crystal he thinks is going to be the one that's going to be the best to skip.
That's right. Renderer, I believe, is the only one that's done the map check so far. But Lumaga working their way over to the Dark World portal here, so we're gonna see what. Hopefully, map check on Dark World, see what we're dealing with tonight. All right, I
And
see
Pendant Thieves Town, Pendant Swamp.
And red crystals at Skullwoods and Turtle Rock.
Well, it definitely means the Fire Rod's probably going to be around here somewhere. And Professor Renderer taking a death.
So with Turtle Rock being one of the 5/6 and Ice Rod, normally I would say that kind of rolls out Fat Fairy, but with the Ice Rod, I feel like Pyramid Fairy is still pretty well in possibility. What do you think?
It's definitely something you're going to want to keep on your mind, but it's a matter of what really could be there. At this point, just sort of like the layout of items we've seen so far, it's really going to come down to, like, is that going to be where the flute is or the bow? And if it's the flute, are you just going to let it sit and just avoid mire? The dungeon I think I would be wanting to ideally skip would be, I think, mire or Turtle Rock if I could help it in this case.
That's all perfectly reasonable to me. Lumaga not finding a whole lot of value in Village of Outcasts, but about to take a peek into Thieves. Without a way to hit blind, this is a small risk, but we're gonna have to come in here anyway. So, oh no, it's a pendant. Excuse me. So, yeah, this is a small gamble.
Certainly reasonable though. Most people at least come in here for at least the first 4. Kind of feels a little bit overworldish, like the front of Skull Woods if you don't have the fire rod. With those items, it looks like map and compass, and then the big key. We're only going to have 1 item in the front 4 here.
Yeah, that's not what you're looking for when you're going into the Pendant Thieves Town. Got to be careful with that 1 heart that they have left as well. And we see Professor
True.
Renderer
It is
starting to
still
do the
really
outcast.
early.
That is true. We did get Dark
And the
World
key in
access
the
at roughly
front.
the 10-minute mark. Ooh, that's rough. No value out of the front of Thieves Town.
Everything is sitting in the back. Oh, man.
And Renderer following suit in here. Lumaga taking a death. That's unfortunate.
I think that was an intentional death warp just to get out of the dungeon and go back to more overworld.
It was kind of hard to tell with so few hearts and everything sitting in the back, but I do believe you are correct.
Yeah, with access to the blacksmith there, and going to go ahead and hit up the digging game. Maybe go ahead and give it the whole Hylian world tour.
Gotta love giving him the world tour. I think my personal record is I got him a catfish.
Ooh, the full tour. Maybe we'll see a full tour today. Depends on what items decide to show up where, because like I said, we're still looking for any sort of real weapon, some more health, just anything to just keep us going.
Yeah, the only real
Now, both
survivability we have
runners
right
have
now is
not.
Blue.
Go ahead.
Oh no, that was it.
I was gonna say both runners have not dipped towards Eastern Palace at all yet, have they? I missed that first couple minutes, so I didn't see if either headed that way.
No, we have not seen Eastern Palace. We have not seen Sriracha Sauce's closet.
So still plenty of overworld goodies to head towards. So it's just a matter of what's gonna turn up where. Then hopefully we can start diving some dungeons for real, instead of that totally good fake out that Thieves Town was.
Hopefully any minute now. Ooh, a little bit of or another heart container for Lumaga. That's a welcome sight. Professor Renderer following in Lumaga's footsteps through Village of Outcast. This has really
Yeah,
been
just
kind
sort
of
of
like a
finishing
disappointment path.
fielding out. Yeah. Oh, Renderer has Book of Medora. Where did he pick that up? Did Lumaga pick that up as
I
well,
missed
and did we just
that.
miss that, or?
Oh, Renderer did do closet. Thank you, Lady Buxley.
Ah.
And we're getting a hype cave check out of Lumaga where we got a big red, some more blueberries, 50 bucks, 10 arrows, and a little bit of. And then just going to save and
Ooh,
quit out
0
of
out
there.
of 10 Hype Cave.
0 out of
Worst
10
Hype
would not
Cave
visit
ever.
again. Getting confirmation from chat. The book did come out of Sriracha Sauce's closet, so thank you very much. So Lumaga starting to get to Kakariko to drop off the blacksmith. So at this point, blacksmith you'd think would have something. What else do we have left to check? I know that we can get up to Death Mountain and sequence break that. But I'm just trying to think in logic. What do you
There's the
think?
first couple
What do we?
chests inside of Eastern Palace. Zora technically is in Logic.
Yeah, at this point, Lumaga might be going off to do maybe a Houlihan or some other form of rupee farming. Try to get up to Zora because, like you said, that isn't. Professor Renderer working their way over to Disappointment Cave.
And
As
And pot is actually technically in logic, at least depending on the bow lock situation.
That is a
Though
good
Eastern
point.
definitely a little bit more appealing.
Oh, absolutely.
So far, this has been a very strange first 20 minutes of this match.
Yeah, 10-minute Dark World access, and then we've hit a hard stall in the last 10 minutes. Lumaga about to pick up their book, though, so a little bit of possible progression for them.
And ultimately, who knows? The answer might also be just the front of escape, and just you have to do it with bombs.
We do also have Desert in logic, too. But doing that with Ice Rod and no other weapon, I do not envy the.
Yeah, though technically might not be completable because of lack of boots and no fire source yet, but something could be lying in wait there for us. Looks like Renderer off to check out the pyramid and maybe potentially the catfish afterwards.
Yep, looks like we're going to get a pyramid ledge check as Lumaga starts working their way through.
That's not a weapon.
No, but you can block arrows now, but nobody likes seeing Fisher Price shield. That's not when you don't have any weapons to hit anything with.
Definitely not. Does look like Renderer is going to head all the way up to catfish, though.
Okay, so let's say for a moment that we don't get anything out of Eastern or Catfish. Where would you head? I'm thinking Desert if I'm these runners, but
Yeah, Desert would have to be my next choice because otherwise, really, you're just left with Pod and Purple Chest for options as well as, front of escape. But I'd probably personally head to front of escape just because if you know how to do bomb escape well enough, you can get by with 5 bombs and get through the whole bit of it and get your 3 chests. Well, I'm
Lumaga
hoping that
doing
this Eastern play pays off for Lumaga.
nothing so far though. Although Lumaga did do that skeleton room.
Very nice.
And it looks like Renderer is going to go take a peek and see what Skull Woods is holding for us up in the front half.
Yeah, for all we know, that could be where our weapons are lying right now.
I do
Or at
know
least
that a
maybe
lot
a
of
fire
runners,
source like lamp to get us logically up the mountain.
that would be nice. Yeah, getting up to that mountain opens up a lot of checks. And I'm sorry, lost my train of thought there.
Hey, it happens.
Got a vanilla big key in Eastern Palace as Renderer starts working their way through Skull Woods. Got to be careful with 1 heart left. And nothing
And just
out of
more
Eastern
health in
tonight.
Eastern Palace. Yeah, I'd definitely be feeling front of escape or desert at this point. We'll see where Lumaga heads towards while Professor Renderer plays with the skeletons and Gibdos.
Looks like we're going to get a check on the front half of Escape.
Go get him, Lumaga. 5 bombs, that's all you need. Renderer ducking out of Skull Woods after a death. Looks like he's heading towards the eastern play that Lumaga just finished.
Lumaga setting up the bomb strats to get this first chest. And we got 10 arrows. Renderer working their way into Eastern, while Lumaga starting to get to the meat of the front half of Escape.
Taking out that guard Batman style, because sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Alright, Lumaga taking on the chain boss. Pulling out the ice rod. Oh, swag strats, I love it.
Oh, make those two guards hug. Do the fire shield for his troubles. So still, this siege is being totally stingy with giving our runners anything to really weaponize.
Yeah, generally when you see seeds like this, you'll see just a storm of items in the mid to early late. In my experience, at least, I could be completely off base.
I mean, who knows? At this rate, we're about to get like access to a hookshot cave, and all 4 swords will be there. Who knows?
Don't even say that.
I mean, I don't want to say it, but the way things are going, hey, who knows? It very well may happen. Renderer finishing up their run through Eastern Palace here in the next couple minutes. Lumaga making their way to Desert and checking the Agena Cave for the disappointment of, I believe, just a couple more bombs. Haha, I remembered.
Doing way better than me. Renderer is working through the dark room in Eastern.
Oop, he had to reset himself. Come on, Renderer, I know you can do it. Ooh,
Looks like
barely got out of
Renderer
there
got
in
through
time.
it.
Those anti-fairies were right on his case, though.
Renderer, yeah, gonna have to actually kill all the enemies in. While he does that, we've got Lumaga getting into Desert.
Renderer getting a sick double kill there.
Nicely done. Now, with this number of hearts, I was gonna say maybe Renderer would try to do the invincibility boost into the anti-fairies, but I think it's actually a safer play, just to stay the course. And we're boots locked in Desert.
Not fun to see, but hey, that means we'll eventually find the boots.
That is true. I wonder if we're going to see
So
a key
unfortunately,
steal.
potentially, maybe. I was gonna say maybe potentially we'll see the boots will end up being in a GT, and Desert has to be the crystal that we have to skip.
That's right. This is a 6/6
This
seed.
seed can do nasty things like that. You just say, sorry, you're not doing this dungeon today.
And it looks like Lumaga
Neither
is
runner
going to
has turned
opt
in
for the
the
key
bottle
steal.
yet, right? Ooh, fun stuff. Let's see
Ooh.
what is hidden behind boots.
And back to your point, I don't think we have had a swag. I was reading chat. So a sick kid check.
Yeah, because we got that bottle out of Mini Moldorm Cave, so hopefully our next return to maybe, if we dead end here and go for a purple chest, maybe we'll find out what Sick Kid has, and maybe that'll give us something to go off of. Give us something to open this seed up.
Looks like Renderer heading up to Zora. Did Lumaga check the ledge when they were up here earlier?
I forget, I don't remember if he did, but we're about to find out in just a second. It's just a heart. Don't blame Renderer for wanting to run and go grab that, though, with how low hearts this seed has been so far.
Now, with only 400 rupees, we are not going to be able to get a Zora check prop. But Lumaga is back in the front
we
half
are
of Desert after the key steal.
doing some more swag ice strats. Last item on Land Molus in Desert.
So at this point, it would have to be Pod. Unless there's a
Pod,
check that they
Zora,
haven't
Sick
done.
Kid, or Purple Chest. Looking like Lumaga and Renderer are actually both heading towards that same exact sort of thought process. Hit up my bottle and then check out Purple Chest. Maybe we'll get something. Or heck, it could be the back of Thieves Town. Who knows? All the items are still in the back of Thieves Town.
That is an excellent point. Alright, let's see what the Sick Kid's holding for us tonight.
Just his lunch money today.
Lumaga throwing out the
boomerang at him.
frustration boomerang, and I do not blame them whatsoever.
Take that, kid. Alright, Renderer did not grab the blacksmith on his initial run through the Dark World.
And just gonna save and quit out. Good decision, Lumaga. Where you going?
Purple chest, likely.
Good call. Yeah, I keep forgetting the purple chest has not been checked. And you just said it 30
I know, it
seconds
usually
ago.
happens so close to the blacksmith. It's usually done so close in sequence because you usually have like the mirror, you do it with the hammer pegs because you have the hammer, and it's just like, you're never really struggling for checks like this. It's like, oh yeah, purple chest, that's where I need to go.
Yeah, the runners are really just getting pigeonholed into having to do just all the one-off checks.
Though I am still feeling kind of my initial feelings about 10 minutes ago that, yeah, our answer might just be pod. That might be why the seed fed the flipper so early, jump in at the Skull Woods portal, swim over to the east, and jump into pod. And then watch, first chest is a bow.
And Lunchbox just with a little bit of love for us tonight.
Yeah, the more we go, the longer I'm thinking, yeah, that's gotta be the case. Pod is where we want to be. Lumaga, are you gonna sniff it out? Professor Renderer, are you gonna see it?
Renderer might be doing the lunchbox check right now since I haven't done it yet. Lumaga, I gotta imagine, is gonna start working their way up.
Yeah, Lumaga may stop in the back of Skull Woods because he hasn't done that check yet, but his options as well as renders are just slowly starting to run thin. What do you think we may find once we actually do get over to the pod area, catfish, or maybe even Zora? What do you think we're gonna find?
The way the seed's playing out, I'm expecting hookshot and mirror. Because why not throw a pendant swamp into the mix?
Here you go, Penance Swamp. That's where you gotta go for your first sword at, an hour in. After 10 minutes of access in Dark World. Have fun, kid.
But if I had to put money down, I would say we're gonna see Hammer sooner than. Lumaga making their play into Skull Woods, getting all the disappointment.
Was bullied by the beetle a little.
Making Sad Woods
I
even
believe
sadder.
Renderer. Did Renderer find an item in here when he was here earlier before he died, or I don't remember what he grabbed.
I think there's a shield upgrade in here and the little bit of love. Oh no, Lumaga got the shield upgrade. I'm wrong.
Was it a heart maybe then? I thought there was some item that, I don't remember if Renderer actually got the item in the Skeleton Gibdo's room. Well, that answers that. Alright, Renderer, what you thinking? We've already covered most of the bases. Certainly one of the strangest seeds I've seen in a while.
Yeah, anybody hoping for Jet Seed tonight is disappointed. Alright, Renderer, where are you taking us right now?
I would personally really like to see a Houlihan and go finish off Zora.
That would be a good play. Just get that last out of the way. You've already done all the out of the way checks. Just get that last one done before you go dive pod.
Yeah, because it's not like you have mirror and you can combine it with catfish or anything right now.
Yeah, there's really no
Chat joking that
quote unquote proper way to route them.
Right, chat joking all swords are in GT right now. Unfortunately, that can't be the case because Turtle Rock and Mire are pendants, or crystals. If at least one of them was off, that might have been a possibility.
I like where your head's at, though. Renderer, looks like they might be getting a ped check in really quick. You know, with as scarce as this seed is, why not?
Can't blame him, but unfortunately I just can't really see what could potentially be on Ped right now. That could be sort of, yes, I need to know this.
If nothing else, Renderer's getting peace of mind.
Hell yeah, Rupee Horde. Well, Lumaga plays with the Gibdos and the giant hand.
So Pet is dead and Lumaga is through that.
Just barely, and thankfully the enemies in this room were kind enough to be split away from the door, because this is one of the few rooms that the enemies actually. This is one of the few rooms in the game that the enemies don't actually start off in the same position. They can actually start off in any spot in the room.
That is a good note to make there, and pulling on that chest in frustration, and I completely understand that. Renderer working their way up the mountain. Gonna get a little sequence break. I actually like this play, because sequence isn't working so far, so just get on out of it and go take a look.
Yeah, the sequence isn't going to give us something. Let's just get out of sequence and get something else, hopefully.
We're making our own logic tonight.
Heck yeah. Turn this into a no-logic seed, we'll just break everything.
I love it. Just got a heart container up on Bumper Cave.
Old man, what you got for us? It's a little bit of love tonight. Isn't that what all the old men always give? And Lumaga making his way to either Catfish or Pod. Let's see which way he heads. Renderer taking a moment to decide whether he wants to blind check the inside of Spectacle Rock, which is unfortunately a bust.
So unfortunately the Death Mountain sequence break did not pay off, and Renderer thinking about it for a minute.
Yeah, it's one of those times where it just really starts to rack your brain if you're even trying to keep track of logic. Where do I go at this point? The seed has just been so frustrating. Lumaga taking a moment to decide whether he wants to pick up that money or not, thinking, yeah, if the answer is Zora, which we haven't checked Zora yet because we haven't had the money to check Zora, definitely want that extra 20.
You could go for the ultimate meta play if you're Renderer and get all the pendants to pull Ped to get the Rupee Horde to then be able to do...
Oh, wouldn't that be the play? I know, let's make some fake pendants. Sahasra and the Master Sword pedestal will never know. We'll just rip off the Master Sword pedestal and scam it like Zora scams us.
Alright, so Lumaga gonna go do the pyramid check, and Renderer... I'm not entirely sure, has he done dig game?
I don't remember if he hit up Dig Game or Stumpy. I know he did Hype Cave. Not sure exactly where Renderer is heading. Certainly wouldn't blame the runners for getting a little bit lost in the seed so far. Like I said, it's been a bit of a stretch just to figure out where the heck do I go.
Oh, looks like Lumaga knows where to go. We're getting up into Pod now.
And if this isn't the answer, then I'm sorry to say, Scamfish is going to be the one true god of this seed. Be the one to bust it open.
Is Renderer... Oh,
I think he's heading towards Pod. He just took a strange way.
Yeah.
Just maybe not thinking about the north route to get up to the Pod area, or where is he going?
Probably gonna go up to Catfish and then work it down over to Pod.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, he probably had a moment was like, how do I get over to Catfish from here? Yes, I gotta go around to the south. I really don't blame him. It's one of those, like I said, mind-racking seeds, and you just start forgetting where and how I gotta go to get to here.
I've forgotten way worse and easier seeds. We got Mirror. Okay, so with Mirror, what does that open up
Mirror,
for us? We can...
That opens up Swamp.
That opens up
Lumaga's
Swamp.
gonna sequence break some of Pod right now, but That's all it gives us right now, really, and because we can't actually legitimately check tablets, we can just see what's on them. Or Graveyard Ledge. That's the other option.
Could poke into Hera, if it's Firelock, you're not getting far, but you could get in there and no way to kill Moldorm either.
But also that's out of logic. But you know, we still decided, screw logic. All right, rest of pod. What else do you have? Do you have a key for Lumaga to keep going? I'm gonna mess with these mimics around here a bit.
Pulling off the potion glitch like a boss. So in logic right now, all we, like you said, all we really have is swamp with the, and we have lamp.
And with that key, Lumaga will actually be able to dip in towards a bit more of the rest of pod for now. See what other goodies. You just got to remember that all that is out of logic. But yeah, Graveyard Ledge and the first chest in Swamp are the only things that are truly in logic right now.
So with what we found, I gotta figure we're gonna find a bow in Swamp, or whatever Swamp leads to. Could still have hook shot in Swamp. Actually, could have really anything at this point.
This is one of those seeds where it's just like, you want to give it to like one of those top runners like Andy or OC or any of them. Be like, here, you try and beat this seed in an hour and a half. And you know, like them, they probably would.
I don't know how, but I would not be surprised.
They'd certainly find a way.
Here's a play you rarely get to see. Rupee farming in the pod dark. I 100%
Certainly
agree
don't
with
blame
this play.
Lumaga. Absolutely do not blame him with the way that this seed has been.
You just take whatever the seed will give you because it's not giving you. Renderer doing the front half of Escape, having an easier time with that guard than Lumaga.
So far, nothing really super of note.
Nope, front
Like
half
pod here.
of pod had the mirror, and then we sequence broke the link. Other than that, haven't seen any more value out of pod.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have a very item-rich dark maze here if fire enemies will let us get through. I can't remember their names. Are they Dodongos?
You're asking the wrong guy. They're tiny dinosaurs.
We'll call them Dodongos for now. I think they're Dodongos.
Alright, big chest, just has some blueberries for us. So Lumaga gets to mirror.
2 more chests we can check real quick before clearing everything out. Though likely just one for the key for his revisit. Just so he doesn't have to come get it later.
That's an easy to forget play. Good on Lumaga for remembering. Okay, so where do you go if you're Lumaga? I'm personally going Swamp, but let's try to think what other options do we.
He can go up the mountain now, technically out of logic, and maybe see some stuff as in Hera, but like I said, I would check either Graveyard Ledge or Swamp. Maybe even put Zora still on my list. Check correcting me. They are technically Kodongos in the pod dark maze, because Dodongos are bigger.
Just goes to show.
Yes, Renderer had not had to move to
Constantly.
desert yet.
Okay. If he hasn't been here, then yeah, I agree with this play. It's been in Logic for a while.
Certainly don't blame him. Lumaga technically had a logic going up the mountain, but it is a play that leads to more checks than you'll get out of just any of the one-off things that the mirror opened up for him in Logic.
Plus, you get the save and quit location up here with the old man. So I gotta figure we might get a little poke into Hera, and then depending on what we find, it's gonna. My next play, like I just said, I'd go swamp. Renderer now learning that boots are going to happen eventually, assuming that desert is one of our 6 required.
Yeah, this just got to feel terrible. 50 minutes in, you haven't even gotten to fight a boss yet. Renderer contemplating life in front of the big chest.
Looks like we're gonna get a tablet check out of Lumaga up here. This is a good call.
Certainly don't blame it. At least just find anything. Seed, please, something.
Give us a fetch quest at this point. Give us mushroom, which unlocks powder. Just give us somewhere to go. Granted, powder would require hammer, but it's something to go on.
Oh, not necessarily, because we have mirror. We could get in there.
Oh, good call.
We good.
All right, one of our 2 items in Hera is 10 arrows.
Wonderfully disappointing to see.
And we're
And a trip to the basement for you, Lumaga. Oh, I am so glad we get to cast this seed. For everyone to see just how terrible Randomizer can be.
This has so far been one of the worst seeds I have seen in a long while.
I think this tops everything that I've seen.
I'm just glad I'm not playing this.
I honestly do not think I've seen a worse seed. Yeah, right? As someone said in the chat earlier, it's like, this is the seed that you wish on your worst enemy.
This has got to be one of the worst non-AGA or pet required seeds as far as like item scarcity. Yeah, I don't even know what to say at this point. Unless we find something here in Hera.
So a quick recap for chat and people who may have been looking away for the past 20 minutes. So we had a super early Dark World access with gloves at about 10-15 minutes in, and the seed has just come up dry ever since, with the only play so far being to have the flippers, to go to pod and find the mirror, which in Logic gives us the Graveyard Ledge check and the first check in Swamp Palace. But the only other item in pod being the lamp, which was out of Logic on the bow-locked side.
Prof doing a little dance as pointed out by chat. You know what? If it makes them happy to do a little dance, you need some happiness with a seed like this. You just need to make your own happiness, make your own logic. We're just making our own life. Live your best life, Professor.
Take out that frustration with a little bit of a dance. Renderer going back in for the dip into Thieves Town, where all 4 items are in the back of Thieves Town.
To recap, we had all the dungeon items and small key, if anybody missed Thieves Town. And nothing out of Hera.
Wow, this seed is just brutal.
So at this point, Zora. I gotta figure Lumaga's gonna get up to Zora soon.
Yeah, really, just like I said, the few in logic checks that are left, it's just Zora, Graveyard Ledge, and the first one in Swamp.
Back half of Escape. Have we seen this yet? Oh, Dark Cross Room. Okay, so we're still out of logic. I didn't even think about this when we saw.
Yeah, just one item here, but hopefully, maybe something here.
Lumaga learning alongside me that Ice Rod does not kill rats. I was not aware.
Huh, I would have thought that would be enough. Hey, there's the one with the key.
And we get a sword.
Oh my
out
god,
of
at about
Town.
57 minutes in, Renderer finding our first weapon.
Intended or not, I understand taking a death in one capacity or the other if you're a renderer. And I missed the
certainly
item
don't
that
blame
was in
Professor
Dark
Renderer
Cross.
here. Certainly don't blame Renderer here taking a moment to scream into the void. It was just a piece of heart at Dark Cross. Well, at least with the sword you can kill blind for Pendant Thieves Town.
And on res, render just nopes on out of there. Oh, going back in. Lumaga looks like they're gonna work their way up to Zoro. We're finally gonna get that check. This would be the type of seed that gives you very few rupees to the point that you have to farm the rupees in the dark rooms of Pod to get up to Zora and actually be able to get the. Are you fish face pain in the neck? What do you got for?
An Ether Medallion. Certainly not happy to see that one. Because so far Lumaga doesn't even have the sword yet to use it. Though hey, what you want to bet that that's the only medallion we'll need for Misery Mire and Turtle Rock?
It's hard to even hazard a guess at that at this point. That would be one gift that the seed could give these runners, is only needing one medallion. But the way it's going, I have serious doubts. So I wonder if Lumaga is going to make the play into the back half of Thieves Town at this point.
It's looking like it's gonna either be that or, like I said, the dip up to a Graveyard Ledge. I'm just trying to kind of follow that mirror, but
Chat pointing out they've
Thieves Town
done so
giving
much
Renderer a
already.
tough time.
Yeah, I mean, we're down to just nitpicky checks at this. And Lumaga is about to get into the back half of Thieves Town, as Renderer seems to be contemplating his options. Sword was in back half of Thieves Town here, up in the bottom. Alright, Renderer deciding to take one more shot at Thieves Town as Lumaga working their way in gets their fighters. I gotta imagine this is the happiest that Lumaga's ever been to find a stick in their life.
Sorry about that, dealing with some back end stuff. Lumaga get his sword.
Yes, he did. And we're gonna get a check on the Thieves Town basement as well while he's in here. And just a little bit of love down there.
We unfortunately cannot check the hammerlock side. So on to blind.
So with 5.5 hearts, although Lumaga does, I believe, have the other heart up here, so 6.5 hearts and blue man. It's not the hardest fight in the world at this point, but it can be tricky if you get off script. For anyone in chat that's not aware, blind is a scripted fight. There is no RNG involved. Lumaga looks like it missed a poke on one of the swipes that they were going for, but still gets the kill anyway.
Otherwise, not too bad of a blind fight. And there's a freaking fire rod. My god. Enjoy the pyroclavity of dealing massive fire damage to the rest of Blind's room and burn it down.
So, 2 weapons in Thieves Town. And I gotta figure we're gonna see a bum rush of Skullwoods right now from Lumaga's.
Yeah, Skullwood's now fully in logic. Sword to break the curtain and fire rod to do the moth. Alright, Renderer, where are you heading towards?
So if you're a renderer, right now you have logical access to Swamp. Looks like we can get Skull
Nope, because
Woods.
he hasn't been to pod yet for his mirror.
Oh, that's right. So he's got to get the pod.
He didn't finish getting all the checks done in Skull Woods, though, because he died last time he was here. However, Lumaga heading towards the Underbridge chest first. I believe both items are, in fact, in back here in Skull Woods.
And we get a fetch quest.
Hey, we'll take it at this point.
It's a fetch quest and one hell of a safety for Ganon's tower. So Renderer looking like he's making that play up to this one chest that he can do in Skull Woods as Lumaga approaches them.
Yeah, he's just got to deal with the bullies that are the Gibdos in that room, and not having any way to really damage them is just, it's going to take a little bit of doing. And they don't like to play nice, unfortunately.
Speaking of not playing nice, Lumaga taking on the Moth with the stick. Gotta be careful. Ooh.
Bit rough of a fight, and it's going to need to do a little bit of refilling on his magic, but he does still have that green potion, I believe, and he needs to remember that he can use that if in a pinch. So he'll probably run around this room a little bit, grab some magic and health refills, maybe get picked up by the hand one more time just to finish filling up his magic. Or mirror, that works too.
That's a good heads-up play. This seed is just making Lumaga and Renderer pull out some of the weirdest strats you do not get to see off.
Oh, Ladybug Thief actually correcting me. He did actually use that potion over in Pod to get the lamp that he did get. So he is out his potion.
Looks like he's going to be using the lamp to light these first 3 torches and then pull out the fire rod. Oh, I stand correct.
Still plenty enough magic to get through the back here.
Yep, doesn't have to worry about
Moth is all about just taking the fight slow.
Oh, absolutely. Some of the worst Moth fights I've ever had have been when I just want to get it over with, and then I end up dying to it 5. Alright, round 2, fight.
Renderer heading back towards the eastern area. I'm not sure what he thinks he can do over here right now. Lumaga taking another unfortunate death in Skull Woods there.
It looks like Lumaga's gonna nope out of there and get a quick ped check in, and then do you think Lumaga's gonna go make a play possibly into Swamp or Graveyard, or do you think they're gonna go buy some potions and come back to Skull?
Could be either at this point. Maybe potion shop, maybe consider whatever few options you have. Or he could be going and checking the bat. See if that magic powder actually led to something.
Loses a bomb to that thief, doesn't even care, just wants to go do whatever Lumaga's planning.
Nope, Lumaga, you gotta go around the other way.
Honestly, with how frustrating the seed is, you know what? He gets a pass.
Yeah.
So, Render looking like he's just double backing, possibly checking. Just double backing, looking to see, maybe did I miss something over here in Eastern?
I think he didn't get to finish the dark rooms over in the eastern side where, remember, he wasn't able to get the big key out of the vanilla big key location. Maybe something's there.
Looks like chat is confirming that. Thank you very much, chat. Lumaga looks like they're heading toward the south part of Dark World. Gonna hit K45. Which is only holding $20.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Still, I stand by my Swamp Palace and Graveyard Ledge line of thinking.
At this point, anybody's guess is as good as anybody else's.
Yeah, 'cause so far we are, even though we did get the fire out, it's still on the straight and narrow, just what could even be where.
Lumaga working their way over to Batman. As Renderer is approaching the big key chest in Eastern, getting his heart container. And stopping for a moment to just think, where could anything possibly be? This seed has just been that kind of seed.
Hey, Magic Bat just having a giant stack of cash for us. Thank you, Bat.
The silver lining on that is now Lumaga can afford a blue potion if they decide to go take on the Moth again. Looks like your prediction was correct. Lumaga working their way over to the graveyard.
Alrighty, some unfortunate news at this point in the race, though, folks. At this point, Professor Renderer has actually decided to forfeit the race.
And Lumaga finding hookshot in graveyard ledge. We can now do swamp.
We can now do a lot of things, and we actually do have Renderer here with us to kind of talk about this seed a little bit, real quick.
Quick correction, we need hammer to finish swamp.
I don't really want to consider this as a good game, like, at all. Like,
I do not blame you. This was a bad seed.
Yeah, like finding the sword like right in Thieves Town, that was just enough for me to break. That there's no way I can come back from that at all. I've tried everything. I try to play passive and nothing happens. I try to play aggressive, nothing happens. I try to do 6/6 to hopefully redeem myself, nothing happens. And what frustrates me is that, like, as I'm hearing this over now, I'm just like, this would have been me. This would have been me if I decided to just go all the way into Thieves Town and just completely find that sword. And then I have more options to do. But then there's like the fact that I had Ice Rod and I had bombs to work with. I thought it was bomb escape. And that wasn't it either. And then there's a problem me trying to get through Big Key, get the Big Key out of the Big Key chest at Eastern, just so I could find find something that's there, because I didn't have a sword to begin with, and I don't usually get going until I find a sword. Like, that's the thing. I cannot play without a sword, like an early sword in my hands. It's the most complicated thing ever.
I feel you, man. This is one for the record books. Everyone is just like watching us like, oh man, this seed is just so brutal and tough. It's where the other place the seed wanted you to go, by the way, was to use those slippers to head over to Pod to get the mirror.
That's what I was thinking too, because I'm like thinking, there's no way I'm gonna dive Pod because I don't have a bow or a hammer. There is no way I'm gonna do that. Like, not even a million years.
Well, unfortunately, it's what the seed wanted you to do.
Yeah, it's like there is no way I was gonna do that, because that would be a big gamble, and that's like a horrible spot for that mirror.
Well, plus, like, one thing to note is just how quickly you had Dark World access. You had Mitz and Pearl at the 10-minute mark, so when I saw that, I was thinking this was going to be Jet, and then just nothing for 40 minutes straight.
Exactly. It just, like, I was thinking the same thing too. I got my partial Dark World access at around the 10-minute mark, and I was doing fine up until the point where there was like no hearts, nothing. There was plenty of money, but like still there's like no sort of progression, and it wanted me to do some crazy shenanigans. It's just, yeah.
And it's on top of that, like, there was money, but there wasn't even enough money to do Zora, though.
Exactly.
Mixing that with some of the weird routing you guys had to do just by the nature of the seed, I mean, like, my heart bleeds for you, man.
Yeah, and it kind of frustrates me because I want to get better. I really do, but when I get seeds like this, I don't know. I don't know if I need like actual help or what.
This is definitely, oh, there's a hammer, the hammer in Super Bunny Cave. That's where it lay. But this is certainly one of those extremely execution low percent heavy like seeds that's just really rough to pull off. So like I said, I don't blame you for calling it on this. Like this, like, and it's not like Lumaga's been like jetting through this seed. He's been struggling through it too. And I'm looking at us like, I could not logic my way through the seed. I would love to hand the seed off to like Andy or Wayne or like anyone who's really good and be like, you finish this seed in an hour and a half, and watch, they probably would. But it's like, this is not one of those nice seeds.
Yeah, this is one of those
Exactly.
seeds where if you haven't practiced the like Amarith here said, the low percentage plays, you know, like I think your first dip into Thieves Town you had 5 or 6 hearts. Even with Blue Mail, like I don't blame you for ducking out and not checking the back half once you saw nothing was up.
Exactly. Yeah, because I'm not familiar with the low percents format because I'm just like I I'm come to expect that I would have a bunch of stuff to go into there, and yeah, I'm going to just Death Warp out of Thieves Town made a whole lot of sense to me until I realized, oh, I'm gonna have to like double or triple dip this dungeon, am I? So I made it just in my mind, it made a whole lot of sense for me to just uh Death Warp out, and yeah.
Yeah, it especially doesn't really feel good doing Thieves Town that early anyway, because it's still a pennant. There was still so many other checks that you could go do. There was all the rest of the overworld, the potential for Hype Cave and everything, and it was just constantly just everything coming up dry.
Yeah, and when I did do those, I realized that okay, I was gonna do all right. So I was gonna do go all the way from Thieves Town all the way through Hype to Catfish, and then I'm like, wait, I can't combo up uh, Zora, even then I still wouldn't have money for it. But like, if I had money for it, I would have totally done the Zora, and of course, especially with the mirror too. That with the mirror being like in pod, there was no way I was ever gonna think of doing that, and that would have helped me earlier if I decided to go pod afterwards. And as a result, I didn't complete any dungeon whatsoever because I'm not used to that. I'm not used to uh having those low percents to deal with, especially when you don't have equipment for like. I mean, yes, I would get the sword to kill blind, but then there's the heart limitation. That heart with blue mail is not going to cut it.
Quick update
Yeah,
on
and
Lumaga's
it's
side.
just
Got to play into Turtle Rock because Lumaga has found Red Cane and with both rods. This is now full clear. Although still technically out of. Are we? Actually, no. We are still out of logic because of the lamp being locked behind both.
correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, even though, blind supposedly being free, it's still a matter of learning the script. I'm pretty good at blind and I can fudge my way through that fight most of the time, but I still can't 100% nail the script. I still take damage and I occasionally die to blind, so I certainly feel you on that one.
Yeah, I never even like gone to finish blind. Just for the sole reason that really I just had trouble to get to the back. There was so much trouble me getting to the back, and there was like I even if I don't even I try to learn the script, and then like sometimes I'm like one hit short, and that causes the script to be different, and all that nonsense, and really it gives me some sort of like reason. I'm maybe some sort of reason to try and learn the seed out to some degree. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I wanted to like again. I'm not sure if I need like help, like like actual like help of like knowing what to do in a race, what to do and all that. Because I'm like, I I competed in the tournament and I feel like I just didn't do. I completed only a seed, but never got too far. And this is kind of like the same thing here, where I'm left on my own, and I'm like, I'm not good at my routing and all that, and just yeah.
Well, quick question for your render: do you use a regular tracker at the very least? Do you use any sort of? Have you tried map trackers before? Do you currently use one, or?
I use a map tracker, yes, and I
Okay.
still I still have like I still have trouble because I'm like I mark everything down whenever I need to. Last time when I was racing against Lumaga, I accidentally marked Magic Bats, and that had progression.
Ah,
The
And
dreaded misclick. We've all
yeah.
pulled that one off.
yeah, it really kind of that just really hit home. That really hit hard me, and that just honestly like if if I hadn't done what I did with that, then I don't know what I would do. Well, yeah,
It's one of those things of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Kind of like it's good, but when you screw it up, it tends to screw up hard.
yeah, it would like once you screw up, it's like, yeah, at this point I'm just gonna wait for Lumaga to done, and that'll be it. There's no way, there's no coming back from that. There's I had that feeling too, and then this seed comes up where I'm not familiar with low percent to the point where I this was never this never came up in a tournament for me because I got knocked out like really quickly, and or the Gomo tournament rather. I got because got knocked out so quickly that I didn't experience that kind of advice for low percent. And as someone who wants to try and race, even though I'm kind of more or less supposed to be a commentator, something like that is difficult.
Yeah, I certainly feel you. I mean, it's one of those things it's one of those things that you'll get better with practice, and that's really, as much as I wish I could just say that there's a mystical, magical thing to tell you that's like, yes, you just do this and you'll do better. It just comes with time and just repetition and practice those low percent bosses. Try like not running after all the safeties every single time, and try to do like 1 or 2 races a day, just that way it's like, okay, I'm getting my routing done, I'm trying to, these are the things that are possible, these are all the weird things that can happen throughout a race, like seeds like this that if you've done a lot of races wouldn't even phase you, to the point where if you had as much experience as say like Andy Bowain or people who've been playing for years and years, you look at this and be like, oh yeah, obviously that's where I need to go.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, I've been trying to get back into racing because but the thing is, I've been so busy in in real life that I've never gotten down to sit down and actually play another race, another seed, and get better at it. It's just I kind of like just been there's this huge sign of rust, and it's very clear in my performance tonight.
Oh, one thing that I don't know if you've ever done this. One thing that helps me out a lot is you can download a practice ROM, and then you can set it to some of those goofy scenarios that rarely come up, like Master Sword or even Hammer Trinex. 5 heart fighter sword blind. Things like that.
Yeah, I have the practice hack up actually as I'm talking right now. I'm just screwing around on Link's house, but I have the most recent one, which is kind of neat. Uh, but I might try and learn a bit about low percent. I might need to get like some more resources out, probably before my next match, if I really want to like keep going with this, because I feel like I might just pull out the same performance like I did tonight and just regret
I would
everything.
keep going. Like even if you don't think that you'll get like super improvement between here and your next match, it's worth the experience and worth the pressure to just try and push yourself that much extra harder because you're in a tournament setting. Like for me personally, I feel I learn a lot better when I'm under pressure of like, okay, I got to do better. Like this is the match that's gonna make or break it, and sort of just gives you that little bit extra edge to just want to do better this seed. Like I figure out the puzzle this time. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get you. But I guess to really just wrap things up, because I know I'm going in for quite a while. Really, I still have a lot to consider, and I might just I'll probably play out this. I'll play out the rest of the tournament, and then just after that's done, I'll just spend the entire night or spend the entire rest of the tournament just practicing as much as I can possibly can, and go on stream or at least try to stream if with whatever equipment I have, and just give it a shot, really, and just try and get better over time.
Oh, don't forget, there is still the elimination round that you get to play in as well. So maybe if you just do some of those low percent plays. And I would not consider this seed a mark on how good or bad you are. This was one of the worst seeds I've ever seen that didn't require egg or pedestal.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
yeah, but I'm just thinking like, I'm thinking just, I'm thinking that even I know that it is a horrible seed, and I know this, and I probably one of my worst seeds that I've ever that I've ever played in, ever, that kind of, because it threw me in for a curveball. I never had to do low percent at all, and really I get it. It's a new experience for me and all that.
Well, if you want to have some fun learning low percent, you could try inverted. That'll knock anybody down a few pegs the first time they do it. My first inverted, I think I died 6 times before I got to the first chest.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, it's inverted is the low percent seed. That is the low percent game mode. That's really what it is. It is the low percent game mode. But about that being said, though, I'm just gonna lay down, think about what I want to do from here on out, or at least what I want to do going forward and all that.
All right, man. Well, hey, before you go, do you have any final thoughts that you want to throw out?
Honestly, I don't think I've said enough for me to I've said enough about the seed, and if I really want to, I could also definitely. I'm seeing that Lady Boxy is saying about practice races with the crew. Yeah, I'll definitely consider that. Just at least get myself better over time, or at least learn from whatever this was.
Sounds good. Well, hey, you enjoy the rest of your night, Professor.
Thank you.
Okay, so update on the seed. We got Lumaga taking on Trinex. Got past the first phase about as well as you can with Hammer Strike. Picking up Master Sword off of Trinex. And 1 hour and 33 minutes in, we have our first crystal. So during the interview, Lumaga has picked up Hookshot, Red Cane, and Hammer. Alright, Lumaga taking a little swim down. Looks like we're gonna get an Ice Palace. What a seed indeed. So, to recap, a lot of the value was up on Dark Death Mountain. At least hook shot locked. Lumaga getting the big key out of the first chest in Ice Palace. As Lumaga works their way through Ice Palace, ProfessorRenderer will drop down into the elimination round where he will play the loser between Slowpoke 316 and Zelnus. And it appears that they have not played their first game yet, so we might be waiting a little bit to see who the professor will be taking on in his next round. Lumaga setting up the Ice Palace bomb jump. First try in the bomb jump, always a good feeling.
And I've been talking with my mic off for about the past, like, 7 minutes. So don't mind me. I'm here.
So that everyone's aware, Amaranth here is doing double duty, doing a lot of the overlay work while also co-comming, and did a lot of the legwork on the interview, so I think big shout out to my co-com here.
Also have to deal with a, strange layout where I have to be forced to be on open mic to be heard.
Alright,
I should have known
far,
right from the get-go we were having problems setting the seat up.
Right. So far, no real value out of Ice Palace yet. So right now with the items that we have, we are still out of logic without bow. But we do currently have access to Swamp Palace.
Ice Palace is technically in logic, so we could potentially find the bow here and put ourselves finally in logic.
It seems like worst case scenario, if we haven't already hit it, would be flute in Ice Palace and then bow hidden in. That's also I'm
Really,
also
worst
making the
case scenario?
assumption.
This isn't the worst case scenario?
It's all relative. My last statement, I'm assuming that Ether is going to be required for Meyer, but we do not know what that is.
Oh, we could only hope for Lumaga's sake. I mean, at the very least, the seed decided to be nice and start opening up.
At the hour and what, 15-20 minute mark?
Yeah, only.
And all of it is out of logic.
At this point, I do just want to know where that bow is.
So the items that we could still require for Dark World access are flute, bow, and boots if desert is one of our 6 required. For any latecomers, this is a 6/6 seed. I realized I said for Dark World Access I meant Go mode. Excuse me.
It's been that kind of night.
It certainly has, Beth. Alright, finding a whole lot of
Lumaga
Jack
heading up
Squad
their
in Ice
way.
Palace.
Heading up to the cold stair fight. All 3 items already found. Lumaga putting that fire rod to use.
Running out of
Quickly making
magic,
one
pulling
work
out
with
the
one of
hammer.
the eyes.
Gotta be careful here down
Gotta
to
be a
2
bit
hearts.
careful now. Gotta kind of play like touch and go with the puffs here at this point. Just sort of wait for them to stop moving and then make your move and run away.
Alright, getting that
Second
second
puff
die down. And third puff goes down. Getting the Compass of Glory and then our second crystal. Okay, so I know that the world's kind of our oyster as far as like checks that we can do, but where are you going if you're Lumaga?
Sort of ish. Probably heading back, finish off Skull Woods and do the Fat Fairy, even though it's out of logic technically, but
Yeah, with blue mail and 14 hearts and half magic should be able to make quick work of the moth this time. Not to mention meth.
another possibility is even heading up back to Tower of Hera, because even though it's a green pendant, that's still a check. I don't know if we pulled all the items out of Tower of Hera because we couldn't fight the moth when we were up there the first time. Or not the moth, the worm.
The other insect. It has been that kind of night. Yep, we're getting back up into Skull Woods to get some retribution on that moth.
Yeah, now with that Master Sword armed with half magic, that moth is getting set afire. But after this, supposing that the moth doesn't drop anything too much of value, I would say between Fat Fairy, even though it's out of logic, and checking the first little bit of Swamp Palace might be where we want to be looking at. At this point, I would not be surprised to see that the bow's there in the very front.
Honestly, the way the seed's going, I wouldn't blame Lumaga for just YOLOing straight over the left side, because why wouldn't it be on left side of the...
Why wouldn't anything at this point with this seed? Round
making
2 or
quick
3,
work of
whichever
the
it was
moth.
with the moth. Hey, there's our bow. We are in logic finally.
At an hour and 46 minutes, logic has been restored to the world of high.
So that gives us completion of Eastern, completion of Pod, though I believe there's only one item left in each.
But that would give Lumaga 4 of the 6 required crystals to finish the seed.
Bring us up to a total of 5 actually, with Skullwood's also down.
Ah yes, math is hard.
So hey, let's hope for a boot or flute. Because, thinking about it, Desert Palace would have actually been clearable, but we've damned ourselves out of it by stealing the key out of the back. So until we find boots, we could not finish Desert Palace. Which means that the flute has to be available outside of Gadon's Tower. I believe it has to account for that.
That is an excellent point. I had to think about it for a second, but you are absolutely right. And Lumaga picking up that big bomb, and we're gonna go get a check of fat. Then I gotta figure we're just gonna loop straight down into Pod and do the Pod Eastern.
Because why not?
Alright, what does Fat Fairy got for us tonight? We've got a Big Red and the Lagmarine.
Finally, both are grabbed, and people can stop arguing over which is better because we just have both. And isn't life better when you have both?
Absolutely. Picking up a couple of red potions, why not? So we're going to go ahead and finish up Pod and Eastern, and I believe... Was Armos holding?
I believe Armos is potentially holding an item. I want to say he is. And real quick, I want to go back while Lumaga's backtracking here through all of the rest of Pod and getting to Pod and all that. So, the logic of this seed was get the 2 gloves of the Moon Pearl, get to Dark World, run yourself through the back of Thieves Town to get the sword, kill Blind, low percent, to get the Fire Rod, to go to the back of Skull Woods, kill the Moth and get your bow and arrow, to go over to Pod to get your mirror.
That would send you up to Death
We
Mountain to get your
are
hammer.
Out of logic still, because we still don't technically have access to get that lamp yet, because that means the flute has to be accessible. The flute's in Swamp Palace.
Good catch.
Because I knew something didn't quite feel right, because something was wrong with the logic. The logic has still not yet been restored. Because the hammer was up on on Death Mountain.
Actually, I think we are in logic because with the bow we got mirror, with mirror we got graveyard ledge, which had hook shot. So I do believe that we are back in.
Nope, because we had no way to get up the mountain to get the lamp.
Oh right.
Or wait, hang on.
No,
No, we're
you're
good.
still right.
Bo got us the lamp, yeah. No, but no, Bo got us the lamp. We don't need the hammer in pod to get the lamp. Okay.
This has just been a nightmare.
Jesus, is just
all around. Oh my god.
Like, I'm like just trying to wrap your head around this seed and just like, am I doing everything right? Are we still in logic?
Chat confirming we are fully in logic. Thank you.
I still stand by my statement though. Flute is probably in swamp.
I'm inclined to agree.
Because also at this point, after Eastern and Pod, what is left? What haven't we done?
We still have desert, which needs boots. And we could technically do Mire now. Well, no, we can't flute. I think it's just desert.
Swamp or Tower of
maybe
Hera.
a handful. Yeah. Maybe a handful of overworld checks that we've forgotten that hasn't been checked yet.
I think we've hit every overworld check there is possible. So yeah, I want to say with at least 95% confidence that the flute is going to be in Swamp Palace, and that'll be our access to do Mire after this, unless flute is here in Eastern Palace. Lumaga taking a moment, remembering, oh right, I've been here already, I just need to do the boss.
Well, we're closing in on 2 hours since that point, so, I mean, everybody gets a pass tonight.
Yeah, I was last here 2 hours ago. Give me a break. It's okay, Lumaga, you can have a break once you have finished the seed.
As Lumaga makes the approach up to the Armos Knights, let's give Lumaga a big shout out for actually finishing out the seed, and another shout out to Professor Renderer for making a valiant effort. But this seed, this would break the best of us.
Absolutely. This is just one of those really rough, oh man, seeds. Definitely shout out to both the runners putting on what they could for us.
Question in chat, it could be we don't need flute if we find boots, isn't it 6-6? That is correct, but we do need either boots or flute, so whatever item it is, it's seeming highly likely that we're gonna find it in swamp. And possibly a medallion if we don't find boots and we need to get into Mire and it's not.
Ah, no item left in Eastern.
But we do get that beautiful 5th crystal.
Huzzah.
With a very clean Armos fight.
So it'll be interesting to see where Lumaga decides to head after this, whether it is to Swamp or up to Tower of Hera. Because I honestly cannot think of any overworld that is left.
I'm sorry, I'm just racking my brain trying to think. Lake Hylia Island, although I don't think that had anything now that I think back.
I think it was just a 20 or it was some sort of garbage. Well, I think run up to just grab some potions real quick before enacting plan where to next.
I feel like plan where to next sums up the seed perfectly.
Oh, we got the
Oh,
mushroom?
we have a. Oh, when did that happen? We completely missed. Oh wait, I think I remember it was either Death Mountain or Turtle Rock. It was somewhere up.
Somewhere on Dark Death Mountain. Hey, boots! That's an item. That finishes us off desert.
And this being a 6/6 seed, that should be go mode.
That will be our... Yep. Only convenience items at this point. Silvers or... Yeah, that's about it. Silvers or another sword.
Wouldn't that be something? This seed capped off by Master Sword Silver.
You know, just why not at this point, right? Just a big old here. Let's just make this as difficult as possible for you. Oop, I messed something up. One moment. Sorry about that, I accidentally
And
froze
we're
some
back.
things.
Well, you got us back in time to see Lumaga actually grab that key, and now just heading straight over to Link.
Yeah, just to re-emphasize, we're on a bit of a thrown together fix at the last minute for this restream. This stream is tied together by glue and other glue.
Paper clips and well wishes.
Yeah, essentially. So when I went to go pull out the tracker because our tracker had to take a moment, kind of broke everything for a second, but it's okay. We're back. So Lumaga, you may want to consider picking up a couple of those arrows just for that GT climb you got coming up soon. Lumaga with a fairly not too bad, pretty good landmole skill, and gets a B for his effort.
At 2 hours, we are in B mode.
And we are also at everyone's true favorite time, the climb for GT. And you know what that means. That's right, we all get to see, guess how long it will take Lumaga here to find the big key. Go ahead and get your guess in chat. It's going to take a minute to climb the mountain here. 1 through, I always forget, is it 21, 22? I believe it's 22. Where you think the big key will be placed today, anywhere between the Hope Room and, let's all face it, it's going to be Tile Room. Get your 22s in chat right now. Oh, wait a minute. Still frozen on the other side on Twitch side. I missed it. Whoops. Sorry, folks. Should be back up in just a moment. I thought I'd fix it, but just looked back over at the Twitch side of things and I was like, oh, hey, sorry. We're still stuck at Praying at Desert for a moment.
Alright, looks like we're back on the Twitch side.
Again, apologies about that. Like I said, stuck together with glue, more glue, well, which is in tape. Not even anything really attached to it all. It's just kind of a big crafting mess.
And Lumaga at 2 hours and 3 minutes entering Ganon's tower and is gonna poke over to the right.
Because we all hope that it's in Hope Room.
We got ourselves a small key and a small key. Pulling out the red cane, looks like we're gonna get a check of full right.
So that is 2 checks down so far. Let's hope for Lumaga's sake we can find another sword or some silvers here just to finish this awful seed off that much quicker.
You know, under normal circumstances, I usually hope for runners to have to show off Master Sword Silverless, but for Lumaga's sake, let's get at least butter, if not silver. If we're not gonna get silver, let's get Lumaga some butter. Alright, Torch holding the small key for us tonight.
That is, I believe, 7?
Coming up on
Heading up
to
8 through 11
11.
here.
Got ourselves a burrito, big red, some blueberries, and a single rupee. Number 12 holding $300 for us.
As we head to the rando room after the snake room here.
What's number 13 holding? Some more blueberries.
Boy, a lot of bombs just sitting around in Ganon's tower for no reason. I wonder if someone's planning to blow it up.
I believe that would be Lumaga as soon as we find that big key. Alright, and we've got flutes in Ganon's tower next to big key. Jerk
Okay.
move, Seed.
But with that, Lumaga is finally heading up the tower, making the climb. Likely only going to be silverless and Master Sword at this point, unless there is something in the top 4 chests at the tower.
Okay, so at this
And
point,
we are actually going to
Lumaga's-
ruin the I was going to say, we're going to ruin
Go
the
ahead.
magic of television just a little bit. Lumaga has joined us in the chat here. With the 15-minute delay, Lumaga is finished a little bit and has joined us to chat a little bit about this race, just because it is starting to get a little late, and this has been quite the seed. So, Lumaga, welcome.
Yeah, you can say that again. This has been quite the seed. So, yeah, I'm not happy that I finished or that I won or how I won. I'm just happy that I finished that pile of garbage.
Nothing but respect. This seed, I can't say enough negative about it.
And you know, everywhere I went, I was hoping for something. You know, hey, I got flippers really early, but I didn't have the money to go to Zora, so there was a problem. I didn't go up there, and I left that for a while. But in the meantime, decided to do some other things like, okay, let me check out Desert. I haven't done that yet. The book's got to lead to something. Well, nope, it's boots locked and there's nothing there. Wait a second, let me steal a key. Maybe I can get around this somehow. Nope, nothing there. And it just went further and further and further.
Yeah, it was just dead end after dead end, and you didn't see progression. And like, let me backtrack a little and say, 10 minutes in, we had Dark World access. 40 minutes later is the next time that I can remember seeing any kind of progression.
Pretty much. I think I remember I got my first sword at an hour, and gosh, when did I get my first crystal? My first crystal was actually Turtle Rock, wasn't it?
It was, yes. That was the
Correct.
first
Oh my
crystal that I
God.
saw completed.
At like an hour 20?
Yeah. Hey, and there was my master sword too. How about that?
Yeah.
Well, plus the low percentage play that was required to even get sword out of Thieves' Town.
To go and kill blind, to get your fire rod, to get your bow out of Skull Woods.
Oh God. Yeah, I had to fight for every inch on this stupid seed. You know, I saw Renderer having a bit of trouble in chat after he was just kind of frustrated and gave a forfeit. So, you know, I hope he doesn't get too discouraged at, you know, this awful seed. I think he did the best he could on this, and I actually am thankful that he rolled a 6 or chose 6-6, so I didn't actually have to do one more desert or one more dungeon in this stupid game.
Exactly. Oh, this has
Ma-
been quite the seed so far, and just seeing you
Yeah.
finish it out here is just gonna be the capper on it.
I'm
Yeah.
seeing a very clean Ganon's Tower out here.
Well, speaking of putting the cap on it, I did end up having to do Master Sword Silverless. I don't know where we're at in the video, but yeah, that just tops it all off. Says it right there.
We're you're just entering the torch like room before the before the whole upstairs beetle situation where you can sauce lock yourself out of Ganon's tower. And for those of you who don't know, the interesting tidbit is when you head up these stairs here in this room, if you go up them at just the right time when the door in the previous room closes, it actually despawns every enemy in the tower and you cannot progress. Moldorm is not there, so the chest cannot appear, and even if you can hover, Aghanim is not there at the very end of the gauntlet, so you cannot actually get to the boss. You have to mirror out or save and quit and restart from the beginning.
Thankfully, I'm not that fast. So I actually saw a mention to pull in Renderer shortly after he was done with this one. What did he have to say?
He had a lot
Nothing
to
nice
say,
about this
none
seed,
of
that's
it
for sure.
surprising or nice.
I believe it.
He unfortunately never made it over to Pod to find the flippers, which would have given
Or
him
the
a
mirror.
little bit of like push. Or yeah, the mirror
Yeah.
and subsequently the lamp if you sequence broke it a little.
Yeah, I was trying to pull out everything. I didn't want to go to Pod early because I had a feeling it would be bow locked, and sure enough, it was. Thankfully, I had that potion. I could get around that.
Yeah, the potion glitch really opened up about the only avenues that were going to open up in this seed. We had the logic broken down. I don't want to think about it again. It was some nonsense.
Actually, getting that lamp behind that potion glitch, I was out of logic until I got that bow off of Mothula.
Yeah, well, that was
Yeah, so
about an
technically
hour
you
and a
were
half
in logic the whole time, you just didn't know it.
Yeah,
Mothula
makes
was
my head
technically
hurt thinking
beatable at
about
that
the logic.
point, it's just...
And for people still watching, we see Lumaga getting to Aga 2, getting a double on the first light. Getting unfortunately hit by the balls on the second one. The seed is just not playing nice with
Very
you at
unkind
all.
on the
These
third
are
one.
some bad Aga patterns too. Just because why? Getting another double though.
I'm actually, I'm thinking about this. I had the choice to go do some one-off checks, right, or dive into swamp, and I would have found silvers in there. That's what Ganon says later. But thankfully, I went to the mushroom spot, the potion hut, and got those boots. Because flute, if I was searching for that flute, I would never have found it. Misery Mire was, hard locked out.
Yeah, and that was actually where we were surmising that either the flute or boots was, because we actually had missed you picking up the mushroom up on Death Mountain. So we were like, okay, the only place left really in logic is either Tower Hare or Swamp. And the way that the seed has been so far, it's got to be Swamp, right?
Yeah, thankfully it was not.
So, seeing some Master Sword Silverless strats out of Lumaga now.
It's 12 and 12 for phase 1 and 2, right? 12 spins? Or is it 24?
Yeah, 24 total, I believe. I always forget the number on Master Sword spins for game.
Yeah, I believe it's 12 and 12 and then 24 for phase 4 Silverless. On to phase 2, just playing it kind of safe. But any final thoughts on the seed, Lumaga? Just like, aside from like the harshest curses upon its family and
Well, I'll keep this family friendly. Believe it or not, I do know how to play this game. It may not seem like I know where I'm going, but man, no, no, nothing else that hasn't already been said. You know, hats off to Professor Render for sticking it out, and even joining the Challenge Cup. Uh, to anybody who puts themselves out there, right? Um, there's always a chance that they can do well, and there's always a chance that they could make some mistakes and not feel too great about it. So, to him and to everyone else who's in the Challenge Cup, good for you to put yourself out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I was telling Render earlier when we did have him in here, being put under that kind of pressure can sort of help, give you that push that you need to just, you know, improve that much harder, that much faster. Like being in a tournament setting or playing competitively can certainly push you to have that drive to just, okay, I'm going to do a bit more practicing than I normally do. I got this next opponent, they're really tough. I'm going to see what I can do to find whatever edge I can to beat them in this next round. Like,
And Lumaga getting into
so
phase 3 of Ganon. Currently down to
feeling some
one
fire
heart.
bouncing on one last heart.
Yeah, don't worry, this does not go on in a second Ganon fight. I know it looks like it might be.
Hooray.
And that
Also,
would be fitting, but
spoilers.
don't worry about it. Well, it's like 12:30. I don't want anyone to think, oh, I gotta sit through another Ganon fight, or I gotta watch him go find the Tempered Sword.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
anyone
also
who
in the
knows the
Eastern
rules
time
of
zone.
the tournament, anyone who knows the rules of the tournament might have started timing you the moment you popped into the chat here with us, knowing that it's had to have been about 15 minutes since your time in GT. And Silverless Master Sword Ganon is it's quite a long run, and doing two of them, you would have joined a lot later.
Yeah, it's true.
Almost taking a fall there. Good save.
However, I've completely lost track of how many spins we're at.
Yeah, this is about when I stopped counting. Just wanted to focus on not getting hit.
Just counting 1-2 torch, 1-2 torch.
So, out of curiosity, let's say that you had taken a death to Ganon here. Do you think you would have gone to Swamp just to try to find the silvers, or to speed it up, or would you have just gone back to the Master Sword Silver?
I probably would have just gone to the potion shop and bought a few blue potions. That's probably it.
I did miss the trust fund that you're sitting on. Yeah, with that many rupees, that's a good. Which, it's really weird considering how few rupees you started with, how many you're ending.
Well, all the money and all the items were just in the mid to late game. So, just looking back on it, gosh, I got a few progression items in the light world, and then like a few heart pieces, but I didn't get any money.
Also, very good job at the bomb escape, as well as forcing the guards to kiss with the ice rod.
Yeah, that talk low percentage. I didn't have a weapon other than bombs, and once I got those, I think I put off escape until one of my last overworld checks because I didn't have an item, a weapon. So I had to do something, and well, since I had that ice rod, pull out the swag and do something cool.
Speaking of that, on a personal note, you taught me that the ice rod does not kill the rats in Escape. I did not know.
I didn't know that either until just now, or until when I did it. So I did do boomerang and bomb. All right, He should be about dead. Maybe one, two more hits.
Probably just a couple more.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that you did the entirety of this last phase on one heart, I mean, kudos.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch this or listen to it on my ride to and from work tomorrow and just hear you guys. There we go. Hear you guys just talk about
Lament over
whatever's
both
happening.
of your luck.
Mm-hmm.
There were, not gonna lie, there was a lot of dead air because it was just like, okay, they've got this is open, and then just nothing for 40 minutes.
Yep. I totally understand that.
Yep. Triforce, that is right. Well, that just happened.
That would be the message that you got. So fitting. Well, GG to you.
Thank you.
And
With an official
again,
SRL
all
time
the
of 2 hours 21:33 seconds.
thank you very much.
Because you did not stop your timer.
And again, just all the respect to you for finishing the seed, and to Professor Renderer for sticking it out as long as.
And thank you for coming in and doing some comps with us. Is your name pronounced Carrigill?
It is.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. This was a blast.
And Amaranth, as always, thank you for putting on the restream. And I think Zyla was our tracker, but I don't see him around.
That is correct. He was off in the listening to it on the Twitch end just to make sure that things sounded good, because we kind of ran into a bit of a snag at the end and had to hold the stream together with glue. What do we say? Glue, hopes and dreams, tape, and more glue, and no real actual things of substance.
Yeah, I think it was like glue, more glue, rubber bands, and well.
Well, however you held it together, I'm looking at it on the Twitch feed now. I was watching on my stream delay. This looks really good. This is the first time I've actually seen the new layout in action. So Lady Box Thief did a great job on this.
Yeah, shout out to Ladybox Thief for making this new design for Go Mode Podcast and Bi-Weekly Seeds, which we do host every 2 weeks. Once Tim comes up with a new fun way for us to be tortured every week with a new seed that can be asynchronously raced. So give us a check on that if you want to get in on some asynchronous race action. And I'll actually switch us over here to the fancy title card, or end card.
While he does that, I know that you've laid them out pretty well, but any last statements that you want to make about the seed or the tournament?
I'm excited to see what happens in the Challenge Cup. I've been watching a lot of the main tournament, and it's just crazy. I imagine there's a lot of Challenge Cup races that are also just as crazy. So good luck to everyone out there. Hope to challenge a few of you in the future, and everyone who's listening, join the Discord, check out the podcast.
And good luck to everyone in your future races coming up in the Challenge Cup or the main tournament if you are in that. With that, Carrigal, do you want to give us any final thoughts before we close out the stream tonight?
Thanks for having me. This was a blast, even though the seed, trying to keep this all together in my head. I think I've made my thoughts abundantly clear on the seed, so I'll just sign off with thank you all very much for having me, and thanks for everybody for joining us on this journey. I think, yeah.
Alrighty, we will all catch you next time.